Hey there, fellas. So for this episode, we have got something interesting and moving in store for you. We're all car enthusiasts around here, and none of us would turn down the opportunity to add a bit of extra horsepower. But proper mods, as we all know, are rather costly. Exhibit A. Right here I have got me what is called a camshaft. It was pulled out of a factory stock engine for one of these cars. And there are actually about a good 50 variants when it comes to aftermarket cams for this sort of 8-valve engine. Prices start at around 15,000 rubles, that's about 150 bucks. And the idea for this episode would be trying some free camshaft mods for the ultimate boost in horsepower. We'll use a welder and an angle grinder for the purpose, and let's get to it. Let's discuss the theory. Right here we have two cam profiles, and hopefully you can see in the recording that the lobes differ a tiny bit. On the 2108 cam, the lobe has got a sort of pointier shape, but in the 2110, same exact engine, but the cam's got a bit higher lift. If we were to make the tip of the cam lobe stick out a bit further and give it a slightly sharper shape, the valve is going to open up further, but for a shorter period of time. But when we extend it and make it not quite as sharp, as in make the tip wider, that's going to lead to the valve staying open for longer. And when the valve opens up further and stays open for longer, that's going to improve engine operation at higher RPM. Now, I'm sure we won't get it right the first time, but through some trial and error, I do think we will eventually get there. Now, despite the fact that we've seriously increased the valve lift, as well as made it so they stay open for longer, the camshaft fitted right off the bat. And it even turns like it should without binding or anything. With how well this is going so far, I think we should start the engine and just see whether it's gonna run or not. It's spitting out gasoline. We got the timing completely wrong. The overlap and all of that. Though there is the off chance that the valves are just a bit too tight, and that's why the engine is doing what it's doing. We were so happy about the fact that the cam was turning that we totally forgot to adjust the valves. So this is still the first iteration, we didn't do anything else with it. All we did was fit a tachometer, as we are curious to see where it idles and how high it can rev. Start it. Screw this! What do you mean we broke the gearbox? What did we actually break? Is that a bad seal? No, it is not. So this type of tach does not allow us to properly understand how the engine is revving. It is what it is. As for why there is so much excess gas buildup in the crankcase, that could very well be down to us improperly modifying the valve timing. That could be the reason why this is occurring. They're just not finding their way out. Instead, we have pressure building inside the crankcase. Hold it! Hold it at wide open throttle. That's it, and we are totally screwed. We have over-revved the engine. That was 7,500. The engine was able to rev to 7,500. And that was it. we'll leave the exact same cam lobe profile like we had before, except that in the middle, which is the part that pushes the valves, we're gonna sharpen them a tiny bit. Okay guys, so we've pieced all of it together. We did have to slightly modify the camshaft though. Before you would have seen the engine was very happy to build revs, but we did encounter a certain issue, in that the crankcase ventilation system wasn't made for an engine that revs this high. And as a result, the engine started spitting oil. We got a hose, we placed a canister, and we did actually slightly modify the system. Moved the breather down, in order for it to throw oil straight into the block. Also, we removed the dipstick and plugged the hole for it, because the engine kept spitting it out. Here we've got this lovely tachometer, and I really want to see how high this engine can rev. Obviously, we haven't gotten to tuning the carburetor, but I think that even the stock carburetor has got enough flow for this engine to rev nice and high. Fire it up. Yeah, right around 2 grand is where it should have been operating all right. The engine is easily revving up to 8,000 RPM. Oh wow, I mean, yeah. It just went past the 9,000 RPM mark. Okay, this was pretty interesting. But I mean, while the car is on the lift, the engine is obviously going to be revving up nice and freely. We actually saw it get up to 9,500 RPM, but that's with no load. And so I suggest we drive to the test track and see how well it feels under load. See how high it can rev, how it's going to accelerate the car, and whether our modifications are worth anything. Okay, let's get to it. We have made it to our favorite test track. We got this nice straightaway, some nice packed snow, almost ice even. And we have fitted those wonderful wheels of ours. The ones where we have 2,500 screws per tire. They grip so tenaciously that the engine doesn't have enough power to get them to slip. Alright then. Let's see how it accelerates with the stock camshaft in place. I'll be going up to 60 kilometers an hour. We don't want to do any actual hardcore racing and scare anybody. So 60 kilometers an hour, look at the result. And then try the modified cam. Let's go. Here we go. Wind it out, change gear. Okay, so I just saw 60 kilometers an hour. 9.23. That's not bad at all. Okay guys, we just went back to base to replace the camshaft. Now we're back, same conditions as before. And I really hope that the camshaft we made, I mean to say the one we modified, that it's going to allow us to rev, I mean... I expect this to be the case, but at least to 7.5 grand in these conditions. That the engine will be able to handily accelerate the car, and hopefully we see an improvement in the time. But as for what's actually going to happen, well, here's the car, here's the straightaway. Let's try and see for ourselves. Terrific. And here we go. Let's see. Alright, well, the result has improved slightly. It's not keeping up. Got wheel spin all the way. As for how it revs, I actually chickened out at some point. But up until 6 grand, it is pulling strong. No droning, it's actually accelerating. But I was short shifting at 6. Now I'm going to try... yeah, I think it still had some steam left. Try to get a feel for what it's really doing. Now I'm going to rev it out until it refuses to keep pulling. To the point where it's just all noise and no grunt. Okay, here we go. 6.5 and it was accelerating. But it was spinning the wheels like mad. We are ready. It's all good and everything, but I'm going to try keeping the wheel spin at bay. So here's the situation. With a bit of effort, I am able to find that sweet spot where the wheel is still gripping. But the outcome of this is actually quite interesting. The acceleration time on the modded cam was 8.74 to 60 Ks. That would be about... it's quite a difference. Right, guys, these are about the results that I expected. The car's performance has been noticeably improved. It pulls really hard. When I launch the car, set off, dump the clutch and go full throttle, the engine revs almost all the way up to 6.5 grand, and the wheels are spinning the entire way. Even though I'd cover a lot of ground by then. Almost getting up to 7. Now, I thoroughly enjoy these types of experiments, honestly. And the best thing about it is that you can do it yourself and practically for free. No need to drop a ton of money on what's sold in stores. Let us know if you guys enjoyed this. We might even revisit this one when summer rolls around. Work on the shape of the lobes, the cam profile, see how it actually performs. You guys saw it all for yourselves. That's it for this video. Subscribe, comment, catch you guys later.